What's up, y'all? It's JuicekiddJ here, and welcome to another video. Now, the topic of today's video is actually about a celebrity I went to middle school with. I've known him as Kamani White, but you all come to know him as FlightReacts over the past year or years or so. If you've been following Flight over the past year, you probably all heard the term I've been doing. I did that in middle school. I did that with the cameras off, and you probably think it's cap, but it's actually pretty true. And I'm here to tell you personally about the experience I've had with going to school with Kamani and seeing him doing the different type of skills and movesets that he provided. I don't typically do these type of videos where I try to make a name off of other people or get views, profit off of other people. But with March 2021 coming around the corner, I thought it was only relevant that I give you guys a perspective on what to expect for next month. Now, before I get into the story of how me and Kamani met, I wanted you all to get an idea of who I am. Now, my name is Josiah. I'm 23 and I currently reside in Atlanta, Georgia. But I was born in Miami, Florida, and around the 3rd grade, I moved to West Palm Beach, where I attended Northmore Elementary School. Upon completing Northmore in about 5th grade, because we go from kindergarten to 5th, so I went there from 3rd grade to 5th grade, and I graduated. That's when I attended Okeechobee Community Middle School. Now, during this time, Kamani was in the 8th grade and I was in the 6th, I believe. So I was just entering and he was on his way out, because middle school we go from 6th to 8th. So he probably doesn't remember much of me, but I remember seeing him play a lot of sports such as football, basketball, and I think he even played soccer too. He was good at a lot of sports because when we used to play in the gym and whatnot, they have Freestyle Friday and they wouldn't always pull out the different, like they wouldn't let us play football and basketball sometimes, but they would just pull out random sports. But whatever sport he played at, he pretty much excelled. His two primary sports were definitely football and basketball. If I had to compare him to a player, it'd probably be Bo Jackson. You know how Bo Jackson played baseball and football at the same time? I feel like Flight was the Bo Jackson, but with basketball, because he was just that exceptional. A few things to know about Kamani. He was pretty short in school. He wasn't the tallest. And he was pretty fast on the field and on the basketball court. He was exceptionally fast. He broke a lot of ankles. He was just real quick and shifty. And in football, if I had to compare him to a football player, it'd probably be a Calvin Johnson or a Randy Moss, the way he would get double team and triple team and he would still catch it over people. He was just that good at catching. His primary position in football had to be wide receiver because he was so quick. And like I said, he was just exceptional at catching. There wasn't any pass that he couldn't catch. You could just throw it up there. He'd go all the way down the field. I'm pretty sure he ran a 4 flat and he had around a 32-inch vertical. So he was jumping over guys. There was really no stopping that dude. I wasn't much of a sporty person at the time, so you didn't catch me playing football, but I might have played a few times against him. I never tried to guard him because I wanted to spare myself from embarrassment coming into school, being a first time incoming middle school student. I couldn't have the reputation to get my ankles broken being a new student to school. Flight also played basketball. Now, we played these sports in the morning time during recess, which took place during lunch. We played after school. Now, sometimes Kamani wouldn't even eat. Like, he would just play sports without even having breakfast, and sometimes we would skip lunch and go out there, play recess and then after school. And it's crazy because on an empty stomach, he was still mossing guys. He was still crossing guys over in basketball. If I had to compare him to a basketball player, it'd probably be like Nick Van Zyl. If y'all remember Nick Van Zyl from the Lakers from a long time ago, Nick the Quick, yeah, that's probably his best position, or Allen Iverson. But he was really good at handles, and he can shoot out the gym. He's the modern day Steph Curry, but Steph Curry came first, so we don't really want to discredit Curry. But still, he was an incredible shooter. He's the puller from half court. He would just drive in, do all types of crazy circus layups, do high top off the glass, a bunch of big dudes. And even on the weekends too, like there was a Okeechobee Park across from the school, and sometimes on the weekends there they would play against older guys, and I would see him. I never played, like I said, because I was never the sporty type, but sometimes I would go over there just talking to girls or whatnot, and I would see him on the court just balling on older dudes. It was really crazy. I actually have footage of him playing football on my Nintendo DS, but it got stolen a long time ago, so I'm not actually able to showcase you guys for it. You just have to take my word for it. But yeah, he was an exceptional player, and I remember when I was in 7th grade, he moved on to the 9th grade, and that's when he first, because I know in middle school he played so many sports, he didn't really want to. So like I said, he played soccer, football, basketball. He was really good at every sport, so that's why he never really pursued a sport in middle school, because there were so many teams that he could make, but he couldn't balance them all at one time, and on top of schoolwork was too stressful, so he just played more in the free time. But I know by the time he got into high school, he finally took basketball serious, and that's when he made the freshman team. and then he sprained his ankle. I remember that actually being in the newspaper. We were all so sad that he sprained his ankle because he really could have went far. But the high school that Flight went to was actually Palm Beach Central. That was a nicer school in a suburban area, but he didn't go to the traditional John I. Leonard. That's the school I went to, the high school I went to. It was a public school. After he sprained his ankle, I remember he had trouble getting back on the team because of his grades. That's one of the reasons why we were a little bit upset, because he went to John I. Leonard. He would have actually stayed on the team, because, you know, suburban schools care more about your grades. They don't really care about people playing. But, you know, the urban schools, they only care if you can play. And I feel like if he would have stayed in John I. Leonard, he definitely would have been in the NBA, or definitely got some like offers, better scholarships and whatnot. A lot of you might all be skeptical about all this, like why was Flight so good in middle school / high school, and after the injury he all of a sudden got worse. And the whole thing about it is this growth spurt. Now if you think about it, going from short to tall is the same as going from skinny to fat. You know, your vertical goes down, your durability is less, you got a lower center of gravity, you lose all your agility, everything, in speed. And it's a hard shift going from that short to that tall. Like Dennis Rodman, for instance, how he went from short to tall. He had to completely style his game. That's why he wasn't much of a scorer. He just rebounded and was just a role player, because he lost all his talent and skill that he had when he was short. Same thing happened with Flight. That's why his jump shot changed, his handles got slower, his dribble moves, dribble package, all that changed. And it really just took a toll on Flight. And also him becoming a YouTuber. You know, he started working out less after getting cut from the team, and he started working on his work ethic, because, you know, he had all types of moves back in middle and high school. You just be in the gym. He used to be a gym rat, just in the hours practicing all different types of moves. That's why when he says a lot of current players stole his moves, it's true, because he would do just some crazy moves never seen before, like some NBA street, and he would just mix it his own by spending hours upon hours in the gym. Come March 2021, I think, and seeing him with the personal trainer, I think he'll be back to his normal state how he was in middle school. We might see the braided Flight that we used to see in middle school. And a fun fact, actually, the movie Like Mike was actually inspired by Kamani. That's why they had to pick Lil Bow Wow, someone who was short, who was light skinned, and actually had the hairstyle that he used to have. And they even used his shoes, because, you know, Flight in middle school couldn't really afford, just like me, we couldn't really afford those nice flashy retro Jordans, so we had to stick to alternatives. And they actually used a pair of his Nikes in the shoe, not necessarily his, but a model of his shoes. They actually used it, and that's the ones that gave Lil Bow Wow and Like Mike the powers that he did, and he was able to dunk and whatnot. And if you just watched the movie and you saw Flight in middle school, you could just tell just how they embodied Kamani, and just how they showed him almost dunking and playing NBA players. It was really incredible and really inspirational. March 2021, you guys will all see Flight back in his prime, and then all those people who claim that it's cap when Flight says I've been doing that since middle school and whatnot. I'm glad to see that Flight's still doing this thing with his YouTube. I know it hurts him from going from a 5-star player in middle school to not even get looked at in high school. It hurt me too. We all were having high expectations because he was going to put West Palm Beach, Florida on the map, and he still did not with his YouTube thing. So shout out to him for doing his thing and putting it on. Like I said, I'm not from West Palm Beach. I'm actually from Miami, but I grew up in West Palm Beach, so I did have a lot of memories there, and I had a lot of friends and family that still stay there currently to this day. Everything I said in this video is 100% true. Like I said, I had recording on my Nintendo DS, but it was stolen back in about the 7th grade, so I was never actually able to show you guys. But if you did enjoy this video, I ask that you like, share, and subscribe, and send it to Flight too. I want Flight to see this video, to see someone who can actually vouch for him and tell you guys that it's not cap. So whenever you see him in the stream saying I did that in middle school, I did that with the cameras off, I'm here to vouch for him. You got 100% proof right here as someone who went to middle school and observed everything that he's done. Appreciate you all for viewing the video. Like I said, like, share, and subscribe. I'll see you all next time. It's your boy JuicekiddJ. See y'all later, and peace.